Hi everyone, welcome to What Is This Weapon, a special episode of What Is This Weapon. I'm Jonathan, as you hopefully know by now. You won't know what these are yet, but we're coming to that. And this is Stevie. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you, Jonathan.
Meet you in
Thanks
person. Yeah.
Nice to meet you at last.
Tell us where you're from, as if we can't tell from your polo shirt there, and then we'll get into a bit about the gun.
Yep, so part of the FN Browning Group, which is obviously the worldwide established brand, but I'm in the subsidiary of FN UK. So we are based down in Kent, a beautiful little place just outside of Erith.
And that used to be Manroy, is that
Yes.
right? People may not be too familiar with the history of the...
Yeah, so it started in 1975, Manroy Engineering, a man called Roy, a lady called Mandy.
Amazing company name, by the way. I think that's my favourite one ever.
And they ran the company and was doing weapon accessories and spare parts and weapons for the UK MOD. And they got bought out in 1st of July, actually, 2014.
14, right.
Ended up changing the name 1st of September 2017 to then FNH UK.
Which makes sense because you're now involved in all of this cool kit. So, tell us when you first came across this. I suppose we should say what it is, shouldn't we? Don't want to keep people on tenterhooks for too long.
Yeah.
So this is?
So this is the FN Evolys. Yeah, so I came across this gun first out in 2023. I just returned from the jungle as the Brunei QMSI, and I got introduced to this weapon. I was working in Warminster, the Land Warfare Centre, as the training warrant officer, and subsequently went on to become the SMI Lethality as part of the Infantry Trials and Development Unit, and then went into further work with the gun.
Great, so you're very much coming from the user perspective
Yes.
with this, which can only be useful with a big company that makes guns.
It definitely helps.
Might sound obvious, but not every company in history has employed people who know what they're talking about from the ground perspective. So I think that's really interesting to us. Tell us about the gun. What are the origins of this? These are, I mean, it might sound obvious to say, but they're both very short and very light.
Yes.
That's indicative of their intended role? How did this thing come about?
Yeah, so around 2012, the first kind of conversation started surrounding the FN Evolys. And there was conversations around the infantry assault rifle at the time. A heavy-barreled rifle, and do FN go into development of a heavy-barreled rifle or an LMG?
It's the age-old quandary, isn't it?
So that was the kind of origins and a thought process, and conversations were happening across America and Belgium at that time. And obviously here we are in the UK now, going strength to strength. So that was the kind of first conversations in 2012. And the development of the gun went on for probably about 10 years.
Yep.
And I'll go into the detail of where all that work went into shortly. But it was more so heavy-barreled rifle versus a light machine gun. And obviously, as you can see here, they went for the latter of those two options.
Yeah, so I'm thrown back to the Brennan and the MG42, but really this is more like BAR versus something belt-fed, isn't it? It's that kind of squad support.
Yes.
So organic to the infantry squad, that kind of thing. And perhaps more so, is it fair to say it's an assault machine gun? That's a phrase that gets bandied around now, something for like even more close quarters, just volume of fire.
Yeah.
Not so much laying down support for manoeuvre elements. Is that right?
I think ergonomically it operates very much like a rifle, but it gives you...
It feels like a rifle, yeah. I mean, even, so I've got here the 7.62 version. I had to check before I picked it up because they really do look similar. They're both very lightweight. If you do pick them up one after the other, you definitely can tell.
Yeah.
So this is 7.62 by 51.
Yeah.
That one is 5.56
by 45. Yeah. So this is 5.5 kilogram in the 5.56 millimeter version, and that's 6.2 kilogram in the 7.62 millimeter version. In terms of weight, there's only 700 grams difference. And in terms of length, this is 34 inches with the buttstock retracted, 37. And then with the buttstock fully extended, 37, 41. So the difference of 3 to 4 inches with the buttstock out. So very manoeuvrable, quick to bear to arms, and very lightweight for offensive missions on a battlefield.
So you could have gone for this receiver set and had it convertible or even had a parallel variant, but based it entirely on this bigger, heavier gun, because it's still really lightweight, but you went with both so that you can maximize the lightweight of the 5.56. Is that fair to say?
Exactly that.
And it absolutely does work, because you can tell, you really can tell the super lightweight of that versus the still pretty lightweight of the other thing. And then I suppose the next thing that caught my eye after shortness and lightness of weight is these bits on the side here and the lack of a bit on the top. The famous machine gun top cover, or as we've seen laterally, a laterally pivoting top cover. Something that breaks up your otherwise continuous top rail, which isn't ideal.
Not ideal. So, I mean, back in the day, and kind of referring to the Mag 58 now, which is obviously a legendary weapon and still used all over the world. Machine guns way back when were designed for reversionary sights, or iron sights as we call them, and now we've moved into nighttime firing especially. And if you give a soldier now the difference of, or the option to use an iron sight versus a optic, I'm guessing the great majority, myself included, in my former days would choose an optic for accuracy and magnification and a surveillance aid on the battlefield, etc.
Yep, and we've got GPMGs with rails on the top cover, haven't we?
Yes.
But they're still mobile.
They are
not one continuous rail. Why should you not have that capability on a machine gun when you've got it on a rifle, I guess?
Exactly. I mean, thinking back to the Scar, it was the first assault rifle with a monolithic top rail. This is now the first machine gun with that iteration that gives you the option. So no rolling on and off, as you say, no going up and down. And therefore, you've got a completely zeroed machine gun, throughout all occasions. And just through wear and, physics, metal will wear. And if you go out for a 3-month, 4-month, 6-month deployment, continually slapping that top rail will, loosen your zero, so to speak.
Sure, no doubt. But so that you don't simply have, because I think I've seen at least one attempt where it's like a pull through with a starter tab. But we do have a top cover. It's just that it's a side cover.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
correct. Yeah.
we've got it. You'll see this. We'll take these facing that way on the range in a moment. But we've got a button here, and it flips open much like a top cover would, but to the side. And we've got a ramp on here, and this pawl will hold the round in place, I'm hoping, so as not to embarrass myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Shortly.
Yeah. So these paws, just in here on the feed tray, will hold the rounds in place. The belt will go on. And I suppose the so what to that is it allows the user to load, reload, make safe, continue all their drills whilst in the stood up position, which is very difficult for the weapons or the machine guns. And just on the back of the side cover, these are self-aligning feed paws. So what I mean by that is if you're not quite true on the
I'm with you.
tray, the paws on the back of the side cover will self-align your rounds, making sure that you have a first time feed into the chamber every time.
So that's a feature I haven't seen before on a machine gun. So we'll see. I mean, some of the stuff we'll see when we actually shoot it. But so you mentioned earlier that we're going from safe to semi to automatic, like a rifle.
Yes.
I know some designs go the other way around.
Yeah.
Would you say the advantage here is, or is this a doctrine thing?
So it's more so a policy doctrine thing in the UK, particularly in Europe, actually.
Yeah.
Where there's levels of escalation, so to speak, from safe to semi to full auto.
Mm-hmm.
It allows the firer to kind of go up through the gears, so to speak.
Mm.
The Evolys actually in the US version is the opposite to that, where it goes safe, automatic, and then into semi.
Right.
So the option's there for the user, however they want that configured, is something that the FN can do.
Yeah.
I think just while the side cover's open, I think that the key thing with this as a user, to maintain momentum in the firefight, hard, fast and aggressive, assaulting missions with a machine gun within the section or the platoon is, if you get contacted generally, or if you're progressing through the battlefield, you want to maintain momentum in the firefight, and this will allow you to do that and changing the belt on the move, as opposed to looking for cover, getting down, more than likely in the prone position, two-handed drills, top cover up, sweeping feed trays, etc.
Yeah.
And this will just maintain the momentum. So essentially, if you've got cover and fire in your fire maneuver, then you should be able to do soldier skills dependent, obviously. But you'd like to think that they can then do these drills on the move and continue to progress along their assaulting mission.
So you'd hook on an ammunition container on the
a soft pouch on the bottom.
Yeah, most likely.
Yes.
And then you're able to, in theory. So I'm gonna make a video game observation here. So I do a lot with that, as you probably know. Picking apart these poor developers and animators and artists who do all this hard work. Now, inevitably, when you're playing a video game, you're running around like Rambo and you're doing like impossible reloads, essentially. This would be the closest thing I've seen to being able to run around and use a machine gun, light machine gun or assault machine gun, whatever we want to call it, more like an assault rifle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Operates very much in its use as a rifle, if you will, but giving you automatic and machine gun capability ranges that you'd associate with a machine gun, and suppressive fire, again, that you can associate. And I think going back to the kind of safety catch and going up through semi into full auto, this was when it was kind of first discussed in 2012, the first machine gun at that point that give a semi-automatic, a semi-firing option.
Yeah.
Because to date, the old days of Northern Ireland, for example, where we were going out with the Mag 58 or the L7A2 as it is now, it was fully automatic. So therefore, the rules of engagement of minimum force and single shots, you couldn't take that out the door. Yeah. Which wasn't ideal for the troops, obviously.
No, not at all. And it's reminding me as well of the Bren gun, where there was a tendency, or it may even have been doctrine, sort of enshrined in doctrine, to use semi-automatic fire in certain circumstances, so the enemy didn't know where your section machine gun was. Yeah. And to conserve ammunition, because you only had a 28-round magazine on that thing. Not the case here, of course, so a bit different. But now I'm thinking I'm going to feel this in a moment, but there's some buffering going on in here, isn't there?
There is. So there's a couple of things that allows the recoil to be minimal for the user. So the first one is the length of the bolt. Mm-hmm. It's slightly longer than on traditional designs. Right. What that does, it locks into the breech slightly early with the locking spines. It's an open bolt weapon system, as you would expect on a machine gun. But probably more importantly in terms of recoil and reliability is it unlocks slightly later as well.
Okay.
And what that allows is the gas to drain. It just gives an extra, millisecond, so to speak, for the gas to drain slightly further. So right. What does that mean? Less gases, less back pressure. Okay. Less wear on the working parts within the gun, because the muzzle velocity is slightly slower. So the weapon has an extra extended life. And then to the rear, as you've alluded to, there's a hydraulic buffer, which sits to the rear and is a great feature. Number one, obviously, it softens recoil slightly for the user. But in terms of reliability, you guarantee rounds per minute. So with the 5.56, it's 750 rounds a minute. Right. With the 7.62, it's 700. But it doesn't go too far off course because of the hydraulic buffer will control the cyclic rate of the gun. Added reliability, cleaner feed. And I think this is more relevant when you put a suppressor on their guns, and we see that more and more.
Sure. Which I assume these are set up to do or capable of taking?
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously with a suppressor on the end, you'd expect more back pressure from gases, so that allows the gases to drain slightly more. There's only one gas setting on the gas regulator as well, which is nice again for the user. Keep it simple, stupid, as we said.
Which again speaks to the role. So we don't have a quick change barrel.
Not a quick change barrel. We've called it an easy change barrel. Yeah. So I can change the barrel in less than a minute, and I'm sure if I can do it with my monkey hands, I'm sure an armour and a user could manage also. Yeah.
So, it's not meant for. It's not a. I keep coming back to the Bren gun. I know it's like several generations ahead of that thing, but that the quick change barrel on that thing was for when it's on a sustained fire mount in a defensive role. The typical actions we think of in the Second World War with that were with the barrel on there. They weren't even carrying the spare.
This is it.
But it's built-in capability, adding weight to the weapon that doesn't need to be there. Ideally, you'd have had two separate guns.
Yes.
And arguably, one of them would have been belt-fed. But I don't want to annoy the Bren fans who are watching. So this is. We've gone to the general purpose machine gun, but we're now a little bit past. You can still have a general purpose machine gun. You guys make one famously, but we're branching off into specialized bits of kit. And in this case, it's highly mobile firepower that can be deployed in the traditional light machine gun role if needs be, because it's got, like, these barrels will take a fair caning from what you were telling me.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's all about mobility and like weight of fire and all of that.
Yeah. It's a free floating barrel, but it's a thick barrel.
Yeah.
And the profile of that metal will, one, aid with accuracy, but two, hold a lot more heat than a thinner barrel, obviously.
Yeah.
But in terms of where we sit with it at the moment, 14-inch barrel on the 5.56.
Yep.
16-inch barrel on the 7.62. And yeah, I mean, when you compare that to the Mag 58, 24.8 inches. So it's a lot longer.
Yep.
So therefore a lot more difficult to maneuver around the battlefield, particularly in urban, FEWAF, jungle, etc. So that's really where this sits. And
this, of course, is why it was deleted from the section in the first place, only to then come back.
Exactly. And, you know, it's a pretty heavy gun.
Yeah. We're always, obviously, soldiers are always having to fight, or should I say designers, engineers, procurement people, they're always trying to fight the last war and chasing their tails in that respect. But this gives you that option if you need a lightweight system, or if you want to go traditional, you've got the mag as well.
Yes. You know, really you've gone from the mag into the mini-me, and then obviously you've got your personal weapon system, and this sits somewhere in between probably the rifle and the mini-me.
Yeah.
Closer to the mini-me, I would suggest, on the weapon spectrum, if you will.
And I suppose I should ask, for doing what I do, is this system derived from either the mag or the mini-me? It's its own thing, I think.
It's very niche in terms of its design. It's a very clever design. There are similarities. You know, there is a relationship, but it's a fairly fresh kind of innovative design, to be honest. Yeah,
because the mini-me is already diversified into Mark 46, Mark 48.
Yeah,
it's kind of scaled back up to bigger calibers, and so it's interesting to see stuff derive into different variants, but then something completely new come from the same stable.
Yeah. I mean, the M249 in the US, and obviously we used to famously have the Mark II in the UK, and they were kind of looking at weapon inventories and maybe scaling down in the US, the UK. And again, that was a contributing factor to the design of the Evolys and where it kind of iterated from, and the relationship between the two. And here we are, basically.
Yeah, well, whatever the sort of origins and purpose and ultimate places it ends up, it's something completely new, which is fantastic to see. And I think we're going to get down and shoot one.
Let's do it.
Okay, we are still on the range, but now facing the correct direction. And you're going to talk me through shooting this thing, which is going to be a treat for me.
Yeah.
And that's the 5.56 version, because they're not immediately obvious. It's like the old Father Ted joke. These cows are small, those are far away. It's a very, very similar design. And we're going to go for, well, in the traditional prone position to begin with.
Yes. Yeah. We'll start off in the prone, and then once you've had a little fire on single, and then possibly automatic.
Oh, very definitely automatic.
Yeah, we'll give that a go. And then, you know, the beauty of this is to be able to fire on the march or on the move. So we'll get up into the standing position and we'll go for that.
Great. Let's do it.
Rounds on the feed tray. You'll see as you put them on, they'll hold in place.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, interesting. Closed up. And we're cocked and ready to go.
I'm ready.
So we'll try a few, or a couple, semi.
Yeah. And you're ready to fire.
Okay, I lied, I've gone for 3 there. That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
I think you're too kind there, but... All right, let's try a couple of bursts. In fact, we've got 5 dots up there, so... I'll stay on that one. Hey.
Last link ejected.
Ah, yeah. Now that's a fairly critical point, isn't it?
Yeah. So, unlike a lot of other machine guns, the last link is ejected on this. So, as we alluded to earlier, that kind of transition between belts on the move becomes a whole lot easier without sweeping the feed tray whilst mid contact or on the battlefield.
Yeah. So to clear the gun, all we've got to do is cock it.
Cock the weapon, push the cock handle forward, and then we're opening up on the side door, inspecting the chamber from that position.
Yeah.
And then you can afford to close the side door now, and then operate the trigger, and the gun is unloaded.
Right. That was good. But this thing primarily is designed for, well, the capability to fire from the shoulder. So let's try that, see how I get on.
Perfect.
Okay.
20 rounds.
Oh, well, first of all, let's just fold up the bipod out of the way. We've fitted this vertical grip just for a bit more control, but I should now be ready to go. So, thank you. Pull that left. Yep. Wow, that is super controllable. Like gradually, I am moving back for sure, but the burst I'm in, I'm not really feeling the recoil.
Yeah, very gentle.
Right, so that's all the shooting done. That was tremendous fun, I have to say. As usual, any fun experience is coincidental to the learning. Who am I kidding? It's always fun to shoot. Got to experience the side cover, all of that stuff that we were talking about earlier. I think the only thing I failed to pick up on is the buttstock setup on this.
Yes. So M4 stock kind of design, if you will, 6 positions, adjustable on the way back.
Yeah.
And probably a worthwhile mention is on the cheek riser. There's 2 available cheek risers that will be set to the firer, and probably more so for the optic to get the correct height for the optic that's in line on the top of the gun, obviously.
Makes
At
sense.
the moment, there's development going on for a folding buttstock.
Right.
So that's ongoing project at the moment. More so probably aimed at the air assault forces who may want this gun in the future. So yeah, it'll come to the outside of the weapon. Probably naturally that you can still hold the weapon a little close to the body for weight distribution, to minimize stress in terms of carrying the weapon away from the body versus against it.
And is it intended to let you still fire with the buttstock folded?
Yes.
That's not always possible.
Yeah.
But it will be with this.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Fully operational with the buttstock folded and firing as well.
That'll be something. So finished product as far as being out there in the sort of military, maybe law enforcement worlds.
Available, yeah, if they wanted it.
But still being developed. As all modern firearms are, it's never done until it's done. We learned that with previous generation platforms where they just kept evolving in a less planned way.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing it kind of more built in and more relationship with customers and things. And different people that acquire stuff will want different setups as well.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Requirements of the users will dictate where it may spiral develop in the future.
Yeah, so you'll be seeing more of this platform in future, no doubt. Hopefully of Stevie as well. Thank you so much for this. We should just mention you have a new website, I gather, with the new branding. I've got the old one on.
Yes.
But the old traditional logo is still in there, which I think is nice.
Yeah, so the traditional logos we've seen for, 135 years this year, actually.
I was just going to do the maths on that, but
we've used it, we FN, and myself included, have used it as a trademark, I suppose, but spun out the FN badge to do so.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about branding much on this channel, but in a historic sense, it's actually really important. Gun companies typically stick with the same one. Some modern companies like to abandon their tradition. So as a sort of historian of these things, I'm glad that the old is still in there with the new. But point being, you have a website, you have the usual social media channels as well. People can follow along with the development of this and other products that are coming down the pike as well.
Yes, LinkedIn is probably a big one within the professional scene.
Sure.
And social media, Facebook, Instagram now. I'm not on Instagram. Middle-aged man.
Well-
A little frightening, but yeah, FN is all on there. So yeah, maybe I should join.
All right. Well, we'll see you again here on What's This Weapon next week. Not with belt-fed machine guns, but with hopefully something just as interesting.